Welcome to our YouTube channel. We're going to share something with you. Is it hype or is it a real warning? What everyone seems to be saying, especially on YouTube channels, about some type of an economic crisis, or they go as far as to say an economic crash that is going to come somewhere in the very near future. First of all, let me say we need you to subscribe to the channel and also give us a thumbs up on our teaching to continue to reach as many people as possible. We certainly thank you for doing that and also for joining us in what we call our mini nuggets, M-I-N-I, not many as M-A-N-Y, but M-I-N-I, mini nuggets. There is a real confusion of voices today. As a matter of fact, one of the challenges that we have in the United States at this present time is who do people actually believe when it comes to the release of information. You take, for example, the COVID situation. There's two different sides to that. There's different sides concerning the vaccine. There's different sides in politics. There's the left, there's the right, there's the conservative, there's the independent, there's the libertarian. So everybody has a particular voice. Everyone has a particular set theory or theories on concerning just about everything that exists on the planet. The problem is when people begin to share information, is it hype? Is it just a rumor? Is it based on what someone said that doesn't have facts? Is it based on fact? If it's a warning, is it a genuine warning or is it just someone's opinion? Now, you have to say on most of the YouTube channels, except when someone is presenting statistics or absolute fact, that a lot of what people are saying are opinion. I know that some people predicted April this collapse was coming, and then it was June the collapse was coming. Now it's the fall months the collapse is coming. And so I do know you see a lot of people, for example, that talk about the price of silver is going to go up to $100 to $300, $800 an ounce. Pardon me. You know, gold's going to be going up to $3,000, $4,000 an ounce. And honestly, they have no way of actually knowing that. So they're just projecting that based on their projections of a collection of different information that they have. So I will say up front that you have to be careful just listening to everybody's theories because there are so many of them. However, the thing that concerns me the most is that we tend to never learn. For example, it seems that we never listen to warnings until something happens. Now, we had a man, I'm going to be very careful sharing this, but in 1972, he told my dad about Watergate and the Watergate break-in before it ever made the Washington Post. And he happened to be an agent in the CIA. Took my dad out to lunch and said there's been a break-in. It's going to cost Nixon his presidency. And this is before anything was ever made public. The same man told my dad in 1972 that he believed that there were Middle Eastern terrorists that would one day fly airplanes into buildings. And that was 1972. And of course, these type of warnings had been given to different presidents, according to this man, and they were all being ignored. Well, it finally happened. And that's what I'm saying when we don't listen to warnings when they're out there many times, which can be a mistake. And then we overreact when something happens. Pardon me, I have a little itchy throat. And when that takes place, we want to always blame someone. One of the things about social media that's bad is someone in Hawaii makes the announcement there's a shortage of toilet paper, and then here on the continent of the United States, everybody went out to Walmart and to all the stores, and they bought all the toilet paper out. The same happened recently with the pipeline. You know, they said, well, there's going to be a delay in fuel. What did everybody in Cleveland, Tennessee do? Everybody got every vehicle and filled it up to the brim thinking there would be no gas, and we ran out of gas. The whole town was out of gas for a couple of days. One of the gentlemen in town, he happens to be from India. He owns a lot of the convenience stores. What he did was he put out of fuel, I shouldn't say this, but he put out of fuel on some of his at some of the convenience stores. So everybody thought he was out of fuel, and then when everybody else ran out, he was able to raise the price a little bit and then had fuel. So that probably wasn't right for him to do that, but someone had told me that he said that he did that. So that's his business. I'm just saying that people listen to what was going on, then they're blaming everybody for it, you know. The third thing I want to tell you is that we never really learn from history. I mean, the debasing of money and currency in the time of the Roman Empire has happened in the United States and been happening for a while. And the Roman Empire eventually just economically collapsed. The infrastructure of Rome began to fall apart. It's falling apart in the United States. Roads and bridges and all these other types of things. And we're following the pattern of the Roman Republic, the exact pattern. Politically, we're following the pattern of the Roman Republic. Persecution of Christians coming the way it did in the Roman Republic. We didn't learn anything. We've not learned anything from history. We're not going to learn anything from history, because the people living today were not living back then, and they think it cannot be repeated. And you hear people talk about, oh, inflation is just passing by. No, it's not passing by. Let me just talk to you about one aspect of this from someone who has about 175,000 hours of Bible study, and that's myself. Revelation 13 says a beast system is coming. It's a mark that you cannot buy or sell without a number, a name, a mark or a number or a name. And this brings me to what I want to mention just very briefly. What we see taking place is very, very similar to what happened in what's called the Weimar Republic in Germany many years ago, when they began to just print money, and put it into circulation. They threw money at people. People weren't working. People were on strike, and they gave them money. And eventually, the German mark became absolutely useless. And that is what everyone who is an economic specialist who knows history is warning the United States about right now. I mean, they're printing, they're talking about $6 trillion. They're going to spend $6 trillion. They've already spent trillions and trillions of trillions of giving it out to people. And that sounds great until you understand that the more money in circulation with nothing to back it means that the dollar was worth 80 cents, 70 cents, 50 cents, 40 cents, 30 cents, 20 cents, and it's worth 10 cents. Then it takes you more dollars to purchase things. And then you get into what's called hyperinflation. So in Germany, they finally got to a point that a loaf of bread cost a wheelbarrow full of marks. They were burning their money because it wasn't any value whatsoever. And that's what brought Hitler to power, the dictator in Germany, was a result of the hyperinflation and the terrible economic crisis that hit Germany during what was called the Weimar Republic. Now, what I want to say to you, in order to bring about the mark of the beast, now I'm going to keep this brief because I try to keep these as brief as possible. But in order to bring about the beastonomic economic system of buying and selling and controlling all buying and selling and controlling people in their buying and selling, number one, you have to have a fiat economic collapse. And that's where it's going to go eventually. I'm not saying it's anytime soon. I'm not saying it's next year. I'm not saying it's under the Biden administration. I have no clue. But I do know eventually there's a fiat currency collapse that has to come where the money is of no value. When that begins to happen, and they're talking it now very heavily. They're trying to get people used to using electronic system, electronic banking, everything done by electronics. Of course, the bad thing about that is hackers. We found that out. Everybody's finding that out. But they're going to move to what's called a cashless currency. Now, when the World Trade Center existed, I toured it in the early 1990s, and I had a picture taken on the top of the Trade Center where it said that there was coming a cashless society at some time. They were talking about this in the 1990s. Okay, we've not totally got there yet, although a lot of people use cards and credit cards and all that kind of thing now. So this has been planned for decades, and it's only a matter of time when people will accept it. And they're teaching this next generation, or the younger generation, to accept it. Number three, eventually, there will be purchasing only by numbers or by using a name of some type of system or a particular mark. Now, there has been talk for quite some time of a chip implant that goes right here, and that chip implant is a health chip implant. This is all the way back with the Obamacare. I heard about it from doctors that sat in meetings where they were discussing a health chip that has all your health information, and because of the body heat here and the body heat right above the hairline here, it had a lithium battery that is heated by body heat, and that's what keeps it activated. And it has all your medical information. They're talking about a chip that will tell if you have a fever. So if you're coming in a store with 99 to 100 degree fever, they won't let you in the store. And it's all going to be electronic. And they can actually do that now. Everybody hasn't accepted that or received that. That's the reason why they haven't done it. They're also talking about a vaccine passport that now it hasn't come to this, but they're saying, okay, if we have another virus, they're talking about now some Delta virus that's on the loose in India that's headed this way, so who knows, but that you will have to have you have to take the vaccine, you have a passport, it probably will come on your phone, so to get in, you'll scan your phone, and if you don't have it, you're not going to go in. So these are things that are happening or could happen in the future that shows us this system that John saw on the Isle of Patmos 1900 years ago could activate through what we're seeing take place. That's the point that I want to make. So I just want to say to you that I'm not going to give you economic advice. I'm not going to give you stock advice. I'm not going to give you banking advice. But I would suggest to you to listen to people who are experts, who have a proven track record, and pay attention to what they're saying. I would secondly say it is not a time for you to hunker down and live in fear and lock yourself up in your house. Don't go into fear, because God didn't give you the spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. But I will tell you, I do believe it's important to have a community of believers that you are connected with or associated with. Now, we in Cleveland, Tennessee, we have what's called the Ramp Cleveland, which is our Tuesday night service, which is a great community of fellowship of believers. We have our Thursday night global prayer, which again is a community and fellowship of believers. And we have a lot of people moving to town for the Voice of Evangelism Perry Stone Ministries, and also for the Ramp Ministries, which is going to build a Bible school and going to build dorms on this property and going to build a wholeness center for kids. We've got a lot of things planned, and the Lord willing, we're going to do it. But I will tell you that we're living in the time of the end, and we're living in the last days, and there are going to be some things that's going to happen that are going to be the precursor to this beast system mentioned in Revelation chapter 13. We're not there yet. We're not even close to being in that system yet, because that system emerges in the middle of the 7-year tribulation. That's when it actually kicks into fullness by the Antichrist and the 10 kings that come in under him. But we are developing the systems that could accommodate that system. And that's the point that I want to make. So I would simply say, stay in faith, keep giving, keep praying, keep following the Lord, and use wisdom in everything you do. Use wisdom in your purchasing and your buying, debt cancellation. Try to get into debt cancellation as much as possible. And just kind of follow people that have a good track record. Dave Ramsey's a good guy, for example, and I don't usually name names, but people that are believers that have a good track record, kind of listen to what they're saying, because they sort of know what's going to take place in the future as it relates to Scripture and to the economic patterns of things. But there's some big things going to happen. But remember this, some of the things that are happening or will happen in the future have to happen to fulfill prophecies that have been given to us, almost 2,000 years ago. Because we're in the time of the end, we're in the last days, we're in the seasons where eventually the Messiah is going to return. And we're going to be a part of that, and I hope many of you are as well. All right, I need a thumbs up from you if you've enjoyed our teaching, and also subscribe to our channel, as many of you that can. That way you have a notification when you click the bell. Your phone will click and say, Perry's just done a new YouTube video, and you won't have to go looking this up. And watch the special little resource that we have available to you. And don't forget perrystone.org. Look us up. ISO.org is our internet Bible school. And the Ramp here in Cleveland, OCI Ministry building is where the Ramp is located. We'd love to have you join us on a Tuesday night at 6:30 every Tuesday night, and World Prayer Live on the internet at 6 o'clock East Coast time. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Now available is Perry Stone's latest DVD series, The Antichrist, His Confederacy, and the World's Final Eighth Empire. This new 8-hour expanded and detailed DVD teaching will explain the empire that will seize the world in the future. This teaching will unlock the final mystery of the Antichrist. In this series, Perry will explain where the theory of the Antichrist originates in Scripture, what the prophets, Christ, and the apostles taught about the Antichrist, the early fathers' teachings about the Antichrist, the men in history who were candidates for the Antichrist, the major prophecies concerning the Antichrist kingdom and his 10 kings, the role Islam has in the future 8th kingdom. Discover the area the Antichrist comes from, where he rules, and what he will do. Learn details of the mark and image of the beast and global economic control. You will also discover numerous prophetic insights seldom known that are now revealed. This study will answer hundreds of your questions. It also includes word studies, amazing history, and combines Old and New Testament prophecies to give a clear understanding of this subject. These 4 DVDs, approximately 8 hours of teaching, has numerous pictures and charts. This DVD series is Manifest Offer AK139 and is available for a gift of just $65 or more. To order, visit perrystone.org or call toll-free 1-888-21-BREAD. That's 1-888-212-7323. You may also write to us and send a check or money order to Perry Stone Ministries, P.O. Box 3595, Cleveland, Tennessee 37320, and request offer number AK139. This offer is available on television for a limited time, so we look forward to hearing from you soon.